Hi fourth graders, today we're going to be continuing to add and subtract fractions, but today we're adding and subtracting more than two fractions. So this is Module 5, Lesson 18. Go ahead and get your supplies, whatever you need to take notes and follow along, and we will get started. Okay, the first problem we're going to do together is 1/8 plus 3/8 plus 4/8. Okay, and if you notice, they kind of make this really easy for us because all of our denominators are the same unit. They're all eighths. So we literally can just add all the parts together and see what they equal. So I'm going to look for what are two fractions that I can add together first, just to make it easier for us. Okay, so the first step would be write out the equation. Second step here is to see what two fractions you can add first. Well, I'm going to do 1/8 plus 3/8. Okay, so 1/8 plus 3/8, and because of the same fractional unit, I'm going to just add straight across. So 1 plus 3 is 4/8. So 1/8 plus 3/8 equals 4/8. So now the third step is going to be to take my total that I got from adding two fractions together, and I'm going to add what's left. Well, what is left? It's 4/8 because we never added that one. So I'm going to add that here, 4/8. Now, because again, my denominators are the same, I'm going to add straight across. 4 plus 4 is 8, and my denominator or unit is eighths. So 4/8 plus 4/8 equals 8/8, which also equals 1. So back up here at the top, our answer is 8/8 or 1 whole. All right, number 2, 1/6 plus 4/6 plus 2/6. Okay, and this is my first step. I'm just writing the equation. Second step, we're looking for two fractions that we can add together first. Well, I really like 4 and 2 because I know that that equals 6. So I'm going to add these two first. Let me do that in another color. So 4/6 plus 2/6 equals 6/6. Because I'm adding 4 and 2 together and my denominators stay the same all the way across. So if you notice 6/6, you might be thinking, well, Ms. Hawkinson, that equals a whole, so you should show that here. Well, I'm not going to yet, and the answer is because I need to still add the other fraction here. So I'm not going to convert anything yet until I'm done adding all of my fractions. So I'm going to take my 6/6 over here, and now I'm going to add the third fraction, 1/6. So 6 plus 1 is 7, and my denominator is now the same, which is 6. So now you can notice we have a mixed number, or an improper fraction, or a fraction that's greater than 1 as our total. This equals 7/6. Now we can change that into a mixed number. So do I have a whole that's living inside of this? Well, yes, the answer would be yes, I do. Inside of this is 6/6 and 1 extra. So we can say that 7/6 is equivalent to 1 and 1/6. So that can also be our answer. All right, the next one, let's try subtraction. 11/10 minus 4/10 minus 1/10. Okay, and just like with addition, first step is writing the equation. Second step is now going to be looking for two fractions that we can easily subtract instead of adding. But we're just looking for that so that we can subtract 2 first and then subtract our third. So I'm going to say I'll do 4/10 and 1/10. So 4/10 minus 1/10. Okay, and our denominators are the same, so that's good. That will stay 10. Our units will be tenths. Now I can subtract 4 minus 1, and that is 3. Okay, so I got the answer from subtracting these two fractions. Now I need to move that down to my third step to subtract from the fraction I have left. Okay, so I have 11/10 now, because that's the last fraction we have, minus 3/10. Okay, so my denominators are the same. That's going to stay tenths. And now I'm subtracting 11 3 from 11, so 11 minus 3. I can just count backwards from 11, 10, 9, 8, or I could count on from 3 to 11, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that would give me 8 also. So my answer equals 8/10. Okay, so same steps, write your equation. Second step, you choose two fractions to do the operation, either adding or subtracting. Find that answer, and then you do the final step of the fraction that's left, minus or adding the answer that you got from step 2. Okay, next problem. We're going to be doing subtraction again, but now one of our numbers that they give us is not in fraction form, it's a whole. So let's see what we would do there. So 1 minus 3/12 minus 5/12. Okay, so first step, write the equation. Second step, find two fractions that you can subtract easily. Okay, well, one thing I notice is the units are twelfths, but they give us a whole, so I need to change that first. So my second step here is going to be changing my whole into a fraction form, an equivalent fraction. So if my unit is twelfths, that's what I have to change my whole into. So instead of writing one whole, it's going to be 12/12 minus 3/12 minus 5/12. So before I can even solve anything, I have to convert this whole first. Okay, so now the third step, I can choose two fractions to subtract first. If you notice here, 3 and 5, I can't subtract that, so I'm going to choose my 12/12 first. So I'm going to subtract 12/12 minus 3/12 first. So 12/12 minus 3/12, and I can just subtract that. I know that's going to be 9/12. Okay, so that's my answer I need. Now I can take this answer and subtract my 5/12, and that's going to be step 4. Why are there 4 steps? Because remember, we had to convert and change our whole into a fraction. So now 9/12 minus 5/12. My unit is the same, it's 12ths, so just subtract right on top. 9 minus 5 is 4. And there's our answer. 1 whole minus 3/12 minus 5/12 equals 4/12. Alright guys, very last one I'm going to show you is one they give us not just a whole, but a mixed number. Okay, so this is subtraction again. And first step would be to what? Write the equation. Second step now, because they give us a number greater than a whole or greater than 1, we have to convert that first, okay, before we can do any subtracting or addition. So 1 and 1/5. Well, what lives inside of that? I know if my units are fifths, that's going to be, so inside of this whole is going to be 5/5, okay, because we know 5/5 equals a whole, so that's the same. And then on the other side is going to be 1/5. Okay, so that's what lives inside of that. So if we add the two together, that will give us an equivalent improper fraction. So 6/5 is the same as 1 and 1/5, and now we can use this one. So go ahead and rewrite the equation now. It's not really step 3, but you can make that step 3. 6/5 minus 2/5 minus 3/5. Okay, and so again, looking for two fractions that you can add or subtract. I can't take away 3 from 2, so I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to start with 6, and you can choose to subtract 2 or 3, but I'm just going to choose the one next to it. So 6/5 minus, and I'm on step 4 now, 2/5. Again, my unit's the same, so that denominator is going to be fifths. 6 minus 2 is 4. So now I have my fraction that I need to subtract my last one. So step 5 over here is going to be subtract that last fraction, 4/5 minus 3/5. So what is 4 minus 3? 1. My unit stays the same, fifths. So what does 1 and 1/5 minus 2/5 minus 3/5 equals? It equals 1/5. Okay, so just like when we had the problem previously, when they gave us a whole, if they give you a fraction that's greater than 1 and it shows it as a mixed number or a whole, you need to convert that first as your next step before you can add or subtract anything. All right, that wraps up Module 5, Lesson 18. Now go ahead and work on your problems.